Hi everybody, welcome to WideNet Gaming, the channel where whether you're looking for an update on a game, a general review, just positives, negatives, and details surrounding mechanics, try to cast a wide net to answer any questions or information you want to know about. Today we're looking at Friday the 13th, the game, and this is a January 2019 update for a game that came out in late 2017. So over a year, and some of the issues that it had kind of were patched in, resolved to a degree, and others were not, and they added things like rain and changed, tweaked both sides, the Jason side and the counselor side. So first here we're looking at gameplay of Jason and how he functions. So how each match starts, Jason appears in his shack randomly across the map, and if you look in the bottom right corner, there's 4 little diamonds. These are his abilities, and here I'm grabbing one, and then it switches over to various assassinations, some context related, others that you can preset. But he starts off with a morph ability, which helps him teleport across the map looking for counselors that are randomly placed throughout. And then over time he accumulates more, and then the cooldown for each of these abilities speeds up as well as gain them. So he starts off with morph, then he gets, which teleports around, and then sense, where, as you can see here, the counselors are lit up in red, or if they're in a house, the house is lit up. And surrounding this, I've heard complaints about, well, he can see through everything, and this isn't exactly true. His sensibility, depending on the one you pick, it's wider, and then if you hide, nothing shows up until it's like later in the game where it gets stronger. The third one is called Shift. Now with this one, he moves very quickly around the map, and he's able to catch up to a counselor. And then the final ability is Stalk. And now with this one, normally when he's around a character, you hear the little cliche Jason music, or like the strings kind of picks up, it gets faster. And then all these abilities, he gains over time, so he's not as strong in the beginning, and then the longer the match goes on, the more he gets, as well as the cooldown for them also is shortened. So anyway, he has these abilities, and then how it works with the counselors, if they see him, they can either hide in a cabin initially, and you're able to barricade the door, and there's various mechanics, I won't go into it, around either combating him, finding a weapon, hitting him, or otherwise running away. So that's mainly the Jason portion. Moving on to the counselors, some aspects are similar. Each side has attributes. There's different Jasons, there's different types of counselors. The various Jasons, some can run, some can only walk. They have advantages, disadvantages with their abilities. And there's other things too beyond that, like traps. He starts with those, the knives, and he gets more or less depending on what you pick. So counselors are in a similar boat, minus any additional items. Their speed, their stamina, ability to repair, etc., how fast they move, and even stealth, where Jason can hear them if they're moving more quickly, or if they're moving more slowly, you can't hear them as much. A little white bubble kind of ripples out. He's able to see them. For the counselor side, the object is to escape. Now you'll notice here, I'm doing it by the yellow car, which is one of 2. There's also a blue car, holds 4 people. Yellow car holds 2. Funny thing with the yellow car is they mechanically make it that way as like a bag of charcoal and some storage in the back. But I mean, it functions fine in the game where you only have 2. And it's random. It can be one or the other. And then the third vehicle you have, which you'll see later, is the boat. And those are the 3 you have to escape. Now with the car, you have the keys, battery, and gas. There's a near miss from Jason. Once you have all of those in, and depending on your character, it falls under the umbrella of repair, where they're able to fix it more quickly, more easily, that kind of thing. So now here you'll see I have the gas, and there's a brief moment where you see the map. It shows where the cars are, if there's a boat, and then Also, any items accounts may drop, like if they drop gas or keys. And then you'll notice in the bottom left, there's my inventory, where I already have keys. I have a pocket knife I can use to defend myself. And these I won't get into too much. It's more fun to learn by playing. And there's a single-player tutorial too surrounding Jason that kind of shows us. And you can also read up very simple stuff. Here you'll notice though the X's, they're all checked out except for the gas. So I'm doing that little mini game. It goes around in a wheel. I'm on Xbox here, so it's RB or LB. And then I have the keys, so I'm able to get in the driver's seat, start the car, kind of take off.
I'm out of here.
And how it runs is, I think, what sets this game apart from others. There's the randomly generated aspect where you kind of have to adjust if you're Jason, and also, I'm not the best driver, or if you're a counselor, depending on where stuff spawns, items you have. You make choices of, whether you run, then he can hear you. There's various mechanics, even though it is, I don't know, a little bit more casual of a game mechanically wise, because you're like in the third person perspective, along with the little clunkiness there is to the game, but still, it's not extreme, as you can kind of tell from gameplay. Well, at least, there are some that I will highlight later in the video. But here's an example of like the random nature. I'm driving the car. People are running around. Do I stop? Do I go? And there's little risks too. The object is to survive. I could just take off, ignore, and then I am able to survive. That's the only objective. But there I decided to stop because he wasn't chasing me, and I was able to pick up all three people besides myself. And the final vehicle here we have is the boat. Now here we have the gas and the rudder that you have to fix. And these are all located close by in cabins. And with this one, again randomly on the map. And there's a specific exit point. Now with this part, I want to highlight the differences. I think that separates this from being like too much of a casual game. Each Jason is different, and the more that you're able to respond. I know this Jason doesn't swim too well, so he teleported. He's by me, but I know his swim speed is slow, so I kind of take my time, get around him. I know I can outrun him with the boat, and sure enough, I go around this little island, and then I'm able to escape. And the boat is kind of like the two-car. It seats two, one in the front. I happen to be the last surviving person. And the fourth way to escape we have here is by calling the police. You need to repair the phone box and then find the phone in the building after you have done that. And this one is the most desirable way, because then the police spawn on a random point, one exit or the other of the map, after the timer you see in the top left corner goes all the way down to 0. And then now finally, in terms of directly escaping before the time runs out and then you automatically escape, is you escape by actually killing Jason, where certain conditions are met. You have to get to a shack, find a sweater, and then Tommy, which is the guy that you call, comes back. But anyway, I won't go into any more detail than that. It gives you a rough idea. But just the how the games usually go is finding items, doing these various things. And like I said previously, various attributes you have. You have looking here, speed, composure when Jason is around, how that affects you. The rest are pretty self-explanatory. Luck is to do with like weapon durability and other aspects. So basically you have a repair guy and you have a runner, to summarize. And you kind of have your team around that. Now, besides the multiplayer portion, the game is basically multiplayer only. You have a single player. This is a short little cutscene. These are actually pretty funny. The animation in general is kind of funny, deliberately, and maybe budget constraints. But with this, you play Jason. This is a great way to learn the mechanics, kind of experiment. There's also an offline mode as well. But the best is just to do this, just to kind of understand the abilities. And there's like little checkpoints you have throughout. So And that pretty much sums up the game. So main thing is it worth getting for what it is? Now, I go from the standpoint of I can forgive glitches or mechanically something's not working the best. And this, at the end of the day, it's not, in my opinion, not that bad given the uniqueness of the mechanics, and it is something different all around, really. So, you have the hide and seek aspects where you're running away from Jason, finding, and just how the games play out in general, and vice versa too. It's just a fun experience, and that's why the community itself too is still very active. Like, you can log into a game, you'll pop in after a little while, or reset your search a few times. So compared to most, especially since it's multiplayer, that's kind of the big selling point. Really, is you have a multiplayer that does something different. Dead by Daylight's another one I haven't played. I hear that one's like a little bit less casual, but I think people gravitate more to this one just because it's easy to jump in. You have more people, and just how it plays out is more fun altogether. So I do recommend it. The positive is the uniqueness of the game. Negatives would be the glitches, especially with the car. You drive to a point, you teleport in like the side of the map in the lake, and the car gets destroyed. And some other things are pretty small, though, besides that. So that would be reason not to get it if that's something that bothers you. It happens few and far between, though, in reality. So I hope you liked this video. Please leave comments, like, subscribe if you liked it, or dislike, and just positive, negative criticism either way. And feel free to check out other my reviews, and thanks for watching.